Today I'm going to explain the movie Renfield, released in the year 2023. The movie starts in the early 20th century. Transylvanian vampire Count Dracula meets English lawyer R.M. Renfield. Renfield makes his way out to broker a deal of a land with a man, hoping to get a big profit out of the deal. When he meets the man, we see that this man is none other than the infamous Dracula, and these two end up becoming friends. These two spend a lot of time together and get to know each other better, until Dracula is put down by Van Helsing. Dracula, however, goes on to resurrect himself, and after Renfield proves to be a useful assistant, he ends up becoming Dracula's familiar, allowing him to be immortal and gaining super strength and speed when he consumes bugs. Dracula goes on to give some portion of his superpowers to Renfield, and that changes his life forever. He now will be the servant of Dracula, and he has to do as Dracula commands. One day, some modern hunters show up with the intentions of finishing off Dracula. They go on to trap him in a circle, and then tell Renfield to stop being with Dracula, adding that he still has a life he can live like a normal human being. This is when Dracula goes on to take advantage of the distraction, and ends up getting out of the circle and puts an end to the exorcist and the hunter right away. This is when another hunter shows up and goes on to expose Dracula to sunlight, and that makes all his body burn. He then goes on to tell Renfield to save him, so Renfield takes Dracula to another city, New Orleans. 90 years go by just like that, and Renfield has grown weary and exhausted of bringing victims to Dracula, as well as the latter's abuse. There, Renfield discovers a 12-step self-help group for persons in codependent relationships and plans to hunt out the group's abusive lovers so he can kill and give them to Dracula to feast on without feeling remorse. He's in the group talk when he goes on to hear about a girl's boyfriend named Mitch, who is not a good guy, and he's abusive to his girlfriend too. Renfield decides that he's going to catch this boy and present it to Dracula. That way, at least he will not be killing innocent humans. Renfield goes on to follow Mitch to a warehouse where he meets his friends, and just when Renfield catches Mitch to bring him to Dracula, an assassin hired by the rival Lobo crime family shows up and kills Mitch and his friends. The assassin then tries to kill Renfield, but Renfield fights back and finishes off the assassin with ease. He then learns that this man has been sent by Teddy Lobo, who's the crime lord, and Mitch stole drugs from him. Teddy then sees that his assassin has been killed, so he starts running. Renfield, in the meantime, picks up the body of the assassin and leaves. Renfield takes the body to Dracula so that he is able to feed on it, but when Dracula takes a bite, he goes on to spit out the blood. He gets pissed at Renfield and tells him that this man used to be a really bad person, and he does not need bad men. He tells Renfield that in order to recover fully, he's going to have to feed on the good people in the world. He angrily tells Renfield to bring him bodies of good people. Dracula makes it abundantly clear to Renfield that if he does not bring him bodies of good people right away, he's going to finish him off. He even goes on to scratch Renfield's lip to scare him, and then puts his own blood on the scratch to heal it right away. Renfield goes out to bring him the blood of good people. This time, he needs to hunt someone who is pure and innocent. In the meantime, Teddy runs into a sobriety checkpoint that is run by Rebecca Quincy, a second-generation police officer who arrests Teddy after he hurls bricks of cocaine at her. At the police station, Teddy is released from custody by corrupt police officers, while Rebecca has a confrontation with her sister Kate, an FBI agent. We go on to learn that their father was killed in a police gunfight, and these two sisters have joined forces with the intentions of putting an end to the crime in their city. These two sisters, however, do not really get along because they have different ways of approaching and dealing with things, which is why they always have their differences. Teddy's mother, Bella Francesca, in the meantime, goes on to give a piece of her mind to her son. She tells him that he is a disappointment, adding that their family is the biggest crime family in the city and Teddy is not even able to handle the smallest of things. She tells him that she's worried about their family's future, because she does not deem her son worthy of taking over the family business. On the other hand, we go on to see Renfield, who's at a cafe, and he's looking for an innocent person he can hunt to present the body to Dracula. Rebecca is also there. She's there because she tried investigating Mitch's case and found some clues that have led her to this cafe. This is when Renfield notices that the police are there, so he decides to postpone his hunt for a while. This is when Teddy also gets there with his men. He goes on to catch Rebecca and tells her that she wants to become like her father and thinks that she's going to die like a brave hero as her dad did, but this is not really the case. He tells Rebecca that his family killed her dad brutally, and the old man begged for his life. He tells Rebecca that they're going to do the same to her, and then points his gun at her. But Rebecca does not budge at all. She dares him to shoot her, but before he is able to shoot her down, Renfield comes between them and saves Rebecca. A fight begins, and Renfield goes on to beat all of them, and before he gets his attention to Teddy, Teddy gets out of there. Rebecca later approaches Renfield and thanks him for saving so many lives. All the other people also go on to thank him, and that makes him feel really good. Renfield then makes his way back to Dracula, who seems much better now. He goes on to tell Renfield that he feels much better now, and he has decided that he is going to finish off the good from this world. He adds that he's going to rule over the whole world, and the good from the humanity is just going to vanish now. He adds that there are just going to be his followers, and the people who will try to do good for humanity will become his food. Renfield does not like what Dracula has just told him, because he still has humanity in himself, and he has decided that he is not going to let humanity come to an end just like that. He then goes to his group where all of them share their problems. He tells them that he has a boss, and the boss wants to rule the whole world. They tell him that his boss sounds like a crazy person, and tells him not to give the boss any attention. Another man tells him to stay away from the boss and just focus on himself. The man adds that if he does not give this man any attention, the boss will weaken, and since Renfield's whole attention will be at himself, he himself will become stronger. Renfield takes this advice and stops going to Dracula now. He then goes on to buy a nice house for himself, decorates it further, and works on his own appearance as well. He goes to see Rebecca, whose company he has started to enjoy. He tells her that she's really brave, adding that he's willing to help her whenever she needs it. He tells her never to lose hope, because brave and good people like her are a beacon of hope for others as well. Teddy's mother, on the other hand, goes on to see the CCTV footage of the cafe where the fight took place, and tells Teddy that she is again disappointed in him. She notices Renfield in the footage, and tells her son that she wants this man dead right away. She sends out Teddy to hunt down Renfield. He goes on to trace Renfield and ends up going to the lair where Dracula is the only one present. Dracula goes on to kill all of Teddy's men and grabs Teddy by the collar. Teddy tells Dracula that both of them seem to like evil things, and then tells him about Renfield. He says that Renfield is currently enjoying good deeds, and he has been helping out the innocent people out there, which is against the rules of Dracula, of course. The two agree to form an alliance, while Renfield has taken to heart the teachings of his self-help group and decides to make a life for himself apart from his master. Setting up an apartment and changing his attitude to one of helpfulness, Renfield gives a statement to the police to help them try to finally stop the Lobos family. Dracula is now pissed and goes to see Renfield, who tells him that he has made up his mind. He's not going to help Dracula anymore. He tells Dracula that he has had enough of that crappy life, adding that he's going to improve and have a good life now. Renfield tells Dracula that he deceives him by giving him powers and making him his servant. Dracula then goes on to tell him that he's mistaken. He adds that Renfield was always a bad man, and he always wanted to become something big by making a lot of money, which is exactly why he left his wife too. Dracula tells Renfield that there are going to be consequences of his betrayal, adding that he's going to make life hell for him. Dracula adds that he's going to make everyone whom Renfield cares about suffer, and then he will kill them all. He even gets to know about the support group, and decides to finish off the people in the support group, knowing very well that Renfield cares about them all. Renfield also realizes that his support group is in trouble, so he quickly makes his way there and tells them to get out of there right away. But he is too late because Dracula has already gotten there and he's too powerful. He finishes off every member in the support group. Renfield is heartbroken when he sees so many innocent and good people dying just because of him. But Dracula tells him that a lot more is going to happen, adding that it is just the beginning, and leaves. Rebecca also gets there, and she has no idea what is going on. She thinks that Renfield is the one who has killed everyone out there and ends up arresting him. However, Rebecca's partner is a corrupt police officer, and he has been on the payroll of the Lobos family. So he quickly calls Teddy and his mother and tells them that they've caught the man the criminal family has been looking for. They call them to the police station and tells them that they can take away Renfield and do whatever they want to do with him. Rebecca is, however, not willing to give up Renfield because she knows Teddy and his family. All her senior officers tell her to give Renfield to the Lobos family, but she does not listen to them, even when they offer her a promotion and a lot of money. She takes Renfield and gets out of there. Rebecca is now also considered a criminal from the police department, and they are ordered to be shot at sight. The next day, when she wakes up, she finds herself in Renfield's apartment, where he decides to tell her about his true self. He tells her about Dracula and what he did to him, but she does not believe any of that. This is when she receives a call from her sister, Kate, who tells her that they have found a pen from the crime location, and the blood on that pen matches Renfield's DNA. She tells Rebecca that this man has been doing this for God knows how many years, adding that he is immortal. Dracula, on the other hand, goes on to see Teddy and his mother. They decide to team up. Bella Francesca then sends some of her men to find and kill Rebecca and Renfield, but Renfield goes on to eat some bugs and activates his powers right away. Renfield then tells Rebecca that he used to love his family, but they got away from him because he made some mistakes, and he always has that guilt living by his side. He tells her that he cannot blame Dracula for everything that happened because he too was involved in everything to some extent. Rebecca then goes on to receive a call from Bella, who tells her that she has kidnapped Kate, and if Rebecca wants to see her sister alive, she should get there with Renfield. They go there, and Bella takes Rebecca with her to Dracula, while Teddy and Renfield start fighting. Teddy has been given some powers by Dracula. Renfield has the upper hand in the fight at first, but then he starts getting weaker, and Teddy now has the upper hand. In the meantime, Dracula goes on to show an almost unconscious Kate to Rebecca and tells her to become his servant. He tells her that he can give her powers, using which she might be able to avenge her father. Renfield, in the meantime, goes on to eat some bugs and gets back some powers. He finishes off Teddy and makes his way to Rebecca. Rebecca, however, goes on to trick Dracula by pretending to agree and then injuring him by exposing him to sunlight, as she goes on to open the curtains, leading to him to run out of there. He, however, manages to get to a dark room where he captures Renfield and finishes him off. But Rebecca shoots at his foot, and when his blood spills on Renfield, Renfield comes back to life again. These two now try to capture Dracula in a magical circle to kill him. He ends up stuck in the magical circle, and Renfield and Rebecca then beat Dracula into pieces, capture his healing blood, and divide up the bits of his corpse into pieces of concrete that they scatter across the water system, either finally destroying the vampire or at least making it very hard for him to reform his body. Renfield then heals Kate, who, along with Rebecca, arrests Bella, and later resurrects his self-help group friends, feeling empowered to make a new life for himself. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.